Now it's recording to my account.
Take it away.
Okay, greetings, everybody. My name is Robert Savino, and I'm a member of the executive board here at the Walt Whitman Birthplace. You may have heard all this before. I greet you today on behalf of our executive director, Caitlin Shea, and the Walt Whitman Birthplace Association Museum, and welcome you to the first gathering of Season 5's Triangulation Journey, Poets Building Bridges. Poets Building Bridges is produced by Poetry Bay Productions for Walt Whitman Birthplace and led by Georg Wallace, who's been the writer-in-residence here for 16 years. The Birthplace offers events throughout the year. I welcome you to check out our website at waltwhitman.org or follow us on Facebook at Walt Whitman Birthplace Association, and even consider membership. I thank all the poets and guests for joining us on this journey. I thank the technical director at the birthday, and as always, I thank George for his continuance to support the Birthplace and poetry throughout the community as well as worldwide. And as today we also celebrate World Poetry Day, I turn the program over to our host, Georg Wallace.
All right. Thank you, Robert. Thank you for that introduction. Robert is also a former Suffolk County Poet Laureate, and he's on the board of directors of the Walt Whitman Birthplace. Done a tremendous work in support of poets here on Long Island and from the Birthplace. So thank you, Robert. My name is Georg Wallace, and this is the 5th season of Poets Building Bridges, which is organized and put together by the Walt Whitman Birthplace. I've been hosting it for 4 or 5 years, and this year Deborah Hauser is joining me as a co-host. So thank you for all the support you've given me, Deborah, and backing me up as I reach my dotage. Poets Building Bridges originate as a concept of triangulating communities of poets worldwide via Zoom during the COVID era. A group from England, a group from Sri Lanka, a group from New York. For example, we did that 11 times a year, once a month, which is pretty interesting, pretty challenging. But this year we've reduced it to twice a year, and we're doing it in a new format, which is, as you see here, we've got 13, 14 different people who are representing different parts of the world, the cultures and the poetry of their area. We'll do this for World Poetry Day, which is an opportunity for us to demonstrate and to further the work of poets, international poets, in shared humanity and culture and building bridges together. So thank you all for joining us. Thank you to the audience as well. I'm here today from the Walt Whitman Birthplace, as you see. So hopefully if there's any glitches, it's because I'm not at my computer, but I think we've got it nailed down now, so we should have a good show. So to start us off, we're going to go one by one, and each of the people presenting is going to give 5 or 6 minutes of material from their own work in English, but also if we get a flavor for their native language or some other language. If it's not in English, that's cool too. So we'd like to get that if possible. I'm going to start right off with Dave Morgan, who really, from Bolton, which is a special friend of Walt Whitman, since the time that Walt Whitman is actually alive, and people used to come from Bolton back in the 1800s, late 1800s, to visit Walt Whitman land here in the Huntington area. It was his concept of pairing poets from the Tamil part of southern India, from England, myself here in New York, and some other places that gave me the idea. So I credit this whole concept to Dave Morgan. So to introduce Dave properly, here's Deborah Hauser.
Thank you so much for asking me to join you. I'm honored to be here with Walt Whitman Birthplace, Robert Savino, and you, George. Proud to introduce Dave Morgan. Dave is a published writer, performer, and community arts organizer from Northwest England, flapjackpress.co.uk. He has a strong association with Bolton Socialist Club and its unique links to Walt Whitman. And he co-founded Write Out Loud, a UK national poetry organization supporting writers, venues, and performers over 20 years ago, writeoutloud.net. And I'm also going to put these in the chat so you can see them and follow each other and check out each other's websites.
Thank you, Deborah. Thank you, George. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm nervous. I don't know if it's because of distinguished company or because I'm in terror of the technology. But each time I do these Zooms, I go through the same nightmare experience, thinking it's all going to go wrong. I'm so pleased things are going right. Let me start with a little manifesto that I found at the beginning of an anthology that we put together 2 or 3 years ago. I'd forgotten I'd written it, but when I saw it, I thought, I need to make more use of this. It's a few lines, describes what we are as poets, or what I am as a poet anyway. We are refuse collectors. We are thieves. We are pickpockets and shoplifters. We are blotting paper. We are vacuum cleaners. We rely on cast-offs. We turn them into finery. Nothing is wasted. We have immense baskets of detritus waiting to be shaken out, matched, knitted, pressed into shape. Our shelves are overflowing. Our heads are overflowing. But we can't stop. Can't stop surreptitiously picking odd labels from off the floor, picking stray words from out of the air, picking away at our memories. Yes, we are writers. We feed off our senses. We don't ask. We'll just take whatever's around. The aroma of apples, wet leaves in autumn, that garish Aaron Xanthi, an ominous ticking, the sweetness of your neck, the feel of velvet, the feel of hurt, your hands, your scent, your throwaway remarks. They are all grist to our mill. And that's basically my work is mainly borrowing from other people. I'm very unoriginal. The first poem I would do is one that I submitted to George recently for inclusion in one of his publications. And it's about a writer who influenced me 40 odd years ago, an American writer called Tim Reynolds. I was put in touch with Tim when I was a young man, a young teacher at a community college. And someone said, you need to meet this man. He works in a pub in the high street in Oxford. Go and see him. And I did. And Tim Reynolds, for 2 years, never told me how to write a poem. But he always showed me how to be a poet. And I found this in my life very valuable. I found 2 or 3 years ago that he died. I didn't realize I'd lost contact. So I wrote this memory of Tim. And it's called A 500-Year Alehouse in Oxford, for Tim Reynolds, 1936 to 2022. What noble words have echoed through these smoke-filled vaults? What breakthroughs have been forged through talk and action? But tonight, Jasper is in the chair, and as chairman, has to impress the dozen young males squeezed into the alcove, waiting to hear the distinguished guest. They bray and fawn until Jasper insists on reading in its entirety The Tay Bridge Disaster by William McGonagall, in a mock Scottish accent unworthy of a man with a private education. Throughout, I squirm as the guest's guest, of no earthly interest to the gaggle of tin-brained toffs. I sense these people are morons, rich, entitled morons. The Tay Bridge collapses, we refill our glasses, the reading starts. The guest's collection is about the Inuit, their life and customs, their environment and ecology, their beliefs and taboos. Before this farrago, he has been a professor of classics, a playwright, a translator of Confucius. The fops feign interest until their attention fails and their fidgeting prompts Jasper's speech of thanks. Later I say, Tim, how the hell can you put up with such patronizing crap? He is from Texas. He's a student of the sage. Dave, my young friend, he says, you have much to learn. A gentleman does not opine. With a £20 note in his pocket, he is assured of next week's rent, a source of Lebanese gold, and a freedom to return to the world of books and the real art of study. So that's Tim Reynolds, and he was a very, very interesting and influential person on me at the time. And I'll finish with this, George, if I've still got a minute. So it's a short poem. It's about hedgehogs. Now, you don't have hedgehogs in America unless they're imported African ones, I read. But they're a native species to Britain and the rest of Europe and much of the world. Spiny little mammals that hibernate over winter, come out in the spring, eat slugs and grubs and insects. Good for the garden, but they're declining because they get run over, they're easy prey, and so on. So this is about a hedgehog. It's called All Change, and it references, I'll tell you about the reference in a while. You'll see a reference at the end. I dug in my new pond so that it was ready for the spring. When the frog spawn showed, I emptied my old pond, punctured and stagnant, bucket by bucket, decanting the secret life into its new home. This morning, I find a hedgehog floating in my new pond. How pleased I am to have a hedgehog in my garden. I lift it with a spade and lay it gently as if expecting it to spring to life. How perfectly formed, legs stretched stiff, its prickles glistening. The flies take 5 minutes to arrive. Today, the sun is shining. It's a perfect day. I light a fire, and on it, I place the hedgehog. No autopsy, no blame, no guilt, no did he jump or was he pushed, no health and safety inquiry, no negligence, no entrapment. Up you go, little smoke, up you go. Those last two lines are stolen from Pull My Daisy, Jack Kerouac's film with David Amram's music. And I saw it 40 odd years ago, and I knew one day those two lines would come true in some way. I would use them, and they fitted perfectly into this because I read this poem to a group of people the other night, and 3 of the ladies in the audience were in the Hedgehog Rescue Society of Wigan, or wherever it was. And as they left, each of them said, murderer, as they left. And I just gave the damned animal a good send-off, a fitting send-off, I thought. So that's my contribution. I hope it's of interest to you, and I look forward to everyone else's. Thank you, Deborah.
And that was Dave Morgan. Thank you, Dave. Thank you for taking good care of those hedgehogs. We don't have enough hedgehogs here, but got plenty of deer in the backyard, and not enough good English beer either. So thanks again. Next up is a good friend from Piacenza and the Po Valley of northern Italy. Sabrina Da Canio is a principal with the Piccolo Museo di Poesia, a little museum of poetry in Piacenza in that region, and active in a lot of regards, a lot of different ways in poetry. Had a couple of opportunities to meet her, and if other circumstances hadn't gotten in the way, I would have been there next month for the Peach Festival and the Biennale, but it's not going to happen. She's in Romania joining us from another festival. So Deborah, tell us about Sabrina.
Hi, George. Thank you very much.
I know,
for this
Deborah's going
invitation.
to say about you.
I'm going to give you an official intro. Sabrina Da Canio
Yes, very,
is a
very official. I'm honored. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm going to read my first two very short poems in Italian and English. And they are for children in Gaza and children in Iran. First one, I read it before in Italian. Sacchi neri. Imparano a tacere le strade. I nomi cadono prima dei corpi, inghiottiti dai sacchi neri. Mani legate, sanno ancora la forma del sangak, la voce del figlio quando sorride. Resta una scarpa senza passo, un grido senza bocca, la notte. Black bags. The streets are learning the silence. Names are falling before bodies, swallowed by black bags. Bound hands still know the shape of sangak. The voice of the songs when they smile. Left behind a shoe, without a step, a scream, without a mouth, the night. And now the other one, I bambini di Gaza. Una rete arrugginita frantuma l'azzurro in piccoli pezzi romboidali. Una bambola dondola le gambe da ore sulle macerie. Bambini, come papaveri di campo in un bicchiere. Children in Gaza. A rusty net shatters the blue into small rhomboidal pieces. A doll swings her legs on the rubble for hours. Children, like field poppies in a glass. And now the last I want to finish with something that's universal. Bread, in Italian, pane. Vorrei tenere insieme tutti i pezzi come il raspo fa con gli acini e non perdere né gli anni né gli amici, né gli amanti a lungo amati. Continuare a sentire il profumo del bucato di mia madre e del latte a colazione. Ma questa vita, ad ogni morso, è un pane che si sbriciola. Se l'appoggi un attimo, qualcuno che sparecchia se lo porta via. Bread. I wish I could keep all the pieces together as a stalk does its grapes, and lose neither ears nor friends, nor long-cherished lovers, and keep on smelling the fragrance of my mother's newly washed laundry, and the aroma of her warm breakfast milk. But life is like bread that breaks into crumbs at every bite. If you put it down for a moment, whoever is clearing the table will whisk it away. Grazie. Thank you.
Sabrina Da Canio. Thank you, Sabrina.
Thank you to you.
The Biennale in Piacenza and the work of Sabrina and Massimo Salvati and others with the
Yes.
museum is very important to Northern Italy. So I thank you for this good work you do.
We wait for you, George. Come when you like. You are
Good.
welcome.
Good, thank you. We have next up from Naousa in Greece. You fly into Thessaloniki and go an hour north through the really lush fields of Thessaloniki region, up into where the crest of the mountains heads towards North Macedonia. You'll come to a beautiful and historic and heroic town of Naousa in Greece for various reasons of national sovereignty and pride. And leading the poetry festival there for several years, almost feel like I'm a family member when I come to visit, is Xanthi Hondrou Hill. So Deborah, tell us about Xanthi, and then she will read for us.
Xanthi is a Greek poetess who has a master's degree in literature and linguistics and postmaster's degrees in journalism and public relations management. Among others, she worked for the Greek consulate in Stuttgart as a PR expert. She is the founder and director of the International Poetry Festival in Naousa.
Thank you. It's a huge honor and joy to join you today on the International Poetry Day to share poems and to exchange opinions. My first poem is dedicated to the paths of the poets, the paths of the poets. And the title is actually originally in Italian, Il Paesi del Poeti. But I will read it in English first. The paths of the poets. The paths of the poets are planted with words emphasized or hyphenated, clambering up imaginary lines at night or in bright daylight. The paths of the poets are filled with a multitude of words that sprout up like giants, which only the poets can conquer with their work. Ο δρόμος των ποιητών. Ο δρόμος των ποιητών είναι σπαρμένος λέξεις, τονισμένες και συνδεδεμένες, σιωπηλές συνήθως, που αναρριχούνται στις νοητές γραμμές άλλοτε τις νύχτες και άλλοτε τις ημέρες. Ο δρόμος των ποιητών είναι σπαρμένος λέξεις που γιγαντώνονται μπροστά τους, που μόνο οι ποιητές δαμάζουν με την τέχνη. And the second poem which I brought is called Augmented Reality, not just because reality is being augmented in many ways these days, but because we feel with all the knowledge that we have sometimes helpless with whatever is hitting us. Augmented reality. Augmented reality is producing my self-destruction with no return, with me as passive and helpless observer, with boundless network satellite TV, beautiful presenters providing open-hearted the end of the world of the others, signing in to self-annihilation with subscriptions to euphemism, the end of the world, as the companion of my digital existence, as the companion of my solitude. And I have a tiny, tiny poem, which I actually thought wouldn't be so bad to read these days. As wars are fighting all around us, I actually wrote that a few years ago, and it was first written in German, as I used German. So it's a 3-line poem, and allow me to read it in all 3 languages. First in German, then in English, and then in Greek. Heimat auf Raten. Das Angebot des Lebens. Tilgungsraten jährlich. Laufzeit lebenslänglich. Der Preis die unbezahlbare Sehnsucht. Homeland with installments. The offer of a lifetime. Payments. Annual repayment installments. Duration for life. The price, the immeasurable longing. Πατρίδα με δώσ'. Η προσφορά της ζωής. Ετήσιες αποπληρωμές. Διάρκεια τη σόβια, το τίμημα ή ανευθύνητη νοσταλγία. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, George. Thank you. Thank you.
Good time discipline. Thank you, Xanthi. Now, this is home of where Aristotle taught Alexander when he was a child. So there's historic places you can visit, actually with kind of sort of half carved out cave and a grove in this limestone cliff where they did their ambulations and walked around as students with Aristotle back in the day. Our next guest is from somewhere a little further away, but not too far away. It's Plovdiv, Bulgaria. We're talking about Aristotle. Well, this is the place where after Orpheus came back from having failed to bring Eurydice back from Hades, he sat on a rock and refused to play music for anybody. And the Meneids came and tore him apart limb from limb and threw his head in the river, the Vardas River, floated all the way to the Black Sea and all the way to, I think, the Aegean, etc. So very, very historic, about as historic as you can get. It's recently celebrated being a European city of culture, and it's one of the oldest cities in Europe. To tell you about Anton Baev, who runs a poetry festival there, please welcome back my co-host, Deborah Hauser.
Anton Baev from Bulgaria is the author of 24 books in different genres: poetry, novels, short stories, and academic monographs. In a two-line poem, he says, "The heart of good is small, just for God to enter."
Thank you. Hi, George. Thank you, Deborah. Hello, all you poets from different cities and from different countries and from different continents, I should say. Thanks for the invitation to be with you on the World's Poetry Day. I was wondering which poem I have to read this evening, because it's evening in Europe now. But as we all see, these days, the world is full of fear and terror. So I decided to read you a poem which is about the different kinds of fear. I will read it in English because it's translated in English, not to waste time, because Bulgarian, is very small language, so no one can understand. This poem is called About the Different Kinds of Fear. Fear not to be left, fear of darkness, fear not to be left in the darkness. My daughter told me years later, it's light when you are here, Dad. Fear of bees. My grandpa had a beehive in the yard. Fear of pricking, fear of biting, fear of burning, fear of pain whatsoever, and then fear of being naked, fear of snakes, fear of snails, fear of castration, fear of failure, and then fear of blood, fear of maiming, fear to be killed, fear to kill. We are in the army now, and more. Fear for the child, fear for the dead, fear for the living, fear to be left, fear to leave, fear not to be rejected, fear to be rejected, and finally, fear to step beyond, fear of staying in the darkness. Thank you. Is okay? Do you hear me?
Yes. Do you have another poem? Oh, you're on mute now.
Okay, I can read one more. Okay,
Yes, please.
if we have time. Okay, okay. Let me see. Okay, for women. For the women who smell of hay, for the women with their sharp hair, like a sharpened scythe, entering the grass in spring, for them I'm telling you this. For the woman from whom you go out into the grass in spring, for her I'm telling you this. For the woman with whom you began your life as a man, for the women with whom you go on living, with sharp hair like a scythe, and the smell of hay again and again in the grass in spring. For them I'm telling you this. For the woman in the grass with whom you will pass to get to the altar, hand in hand with the smell of hay, sharp like a scythe. For the woman who takes you further, still in the grass. For the others, ready to make it in the grass, in spring, sharp like a scythe, with the smell of hay. For them I'm telling you this. They are not necessary the woman with whom you must die in the grass. For that one I'm telling you, the one with the smell of mown grass and hair sharp like a scythe in the grass, in spring. For her I'm telling you now, for the woman who will wash you, kiss you, cut you with the sharp scythe, and throw you in the grass, in autumn, with the smell of hay, and beyond, to the woman death, to the woman death. The woman is death. Thank you.
Very nice. Beautiful. Very good poem. I'm glad you had your second poem to read. Thank you, Anton Baev, for that. I did meet Anton first at the Titet Naimet Poetry Festival. And
Yes.
you know, we had some good times there. He taught me how to drink peppermint Rocky, and
Sure.
which we had second round of in Bulgaria. Someday again, we'll drink some Rocky together.
Yeah.
Next up, I'd like to have Deborah introduce a person who I've run across in several different locations. Really, you can find her in festivals around the world. She may even be in Burma or in India now. I'm not sure. She's always at different festivals these days. But yeah, I first met her, I think, at the Nausa Festival, and second time up at Rockport, Maine, with Bob Wellensfeld Festival there. And we had occasion to see each other in Madrid, Spain. And she's, although from Switzerland, she's doing a lot of theater work in Spain these days. And I think bills herself as a Swiss Spanish poet. So to tell you about Alexandra Nicod, please welcome back Deborah Hauser.
Alexandra Nicod from Switzerland is an award-winning Swiss Spanish poet, actress, playwright, and theater director. She has published several collections of poems and is the author of various plays performed in theaters under her direction. She has participated in many international poetry festivals worldwide, and her poetic work has been published in numerous international poetry magazines and anthologies.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, dear George. Thank you, Deborah. I'm very glad to be here on this important day, and mostly in these dark times. It's important to have this gathering all around the world and be together and feel together and connect with our humanity. So thank you so much for having me. My first poem, I will read it first in Spanish and then in English, is dedicated to all children in war. Origen. Salí de mi cuerpo como quien sale de una casa en llamas. Mi cuerpo ya no era un lugar seguro, ya no. Y de golpe se cayeron todos los pájaros del cielo en pleno vuelo, los blancos y los negros, los grandes y los pequeños, los que vuelan alto y los que planean a ras de suelo. Se caen las nubes, el sol se esconde, la luna no aparece, se paran los coches, se petrifican los paseantes, se derrumban los techos de las casas y de golpe todas las niñas estallan en llamas, se incendian las hijas y las nietas, las hermanas y sobrinas, las primas y ahijadas, todas las niñas ardiendo en sus hogares, sus habitaciones, sus camas. En cada casa, cada pueblo, cada ciudad surgen llamas, una tras otra, llamas que piden ayuda y tú las escuchas e intentas gritar. Pero solo eres una niña y las niñas en llamas no pueden gritar. Now in English. Origin. I left my body like someone leaving a burning house. My body was no longer a safe place, not anymore. And suddenly all the birds fell from the sky in mid-flight, the white ones and the black ones, the big ones and the small ones, those that fly high and those that glide low to the ground. The clouds fall, the sun hides, the moon does not appear. Cars stop, walkers petrify, the roofs of the houses collapse, and all of a sudden, all the girls burst into flames, the daughters and granddaughters, the sisters and nieces, the cousins and goddaughters, all the girls burning in their homes, their rooms, their beds. In every house, every village, every town, flames arise, one after another, flames calling for help, and you hear them and you try to scream. But you are only a girl, and girls on fire cannot scream. Thank you very much. And now the second one, only in English. Dedicated to my dear friend in exile. We will rest together. I lay my body down in an unknown land, a damp land in a park in Sofia. Bulgaria calls me to rest my soul, to seek peace, the path to eternity. I rest my face among the rose bushes, tears flow and mix with my warm blood. What will my last breath be like? What will it be like to feel that the moment has come? What will it be like to turn to dust? Thinking about my death and making peace with it, my thoughts turn to another destiny. I think of my friend in exile, my friend without a homeland, my friend without peace, my friend who cannot set foot on his land, rest his face on his mother's lap, or kiss his father's forehead for the last time. While I can choose the place where I want to bury my dreams, he will have no choice. While I will have my family united around me, he will be alone. While I will rest in my land, he will remain in heavenly exile. But, my friend, do not despair. lie down beside me in this park in Sofia. Here the earth is as moist as in the meadows of your land. Here we will rest together. Take my hand and open your heart to eternity. Thank you so much. Thank you. Viva la poesía and no to war. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you so much. Alexandra Nicod. You are in India now? Where are you at? Where are you?
No, I just came back from India and I had problems to come back, obviously, because of the war in the Gulf region, but nothing compares to what is suffering so many people. So now I'm back in Madrid. Thank you, George.
Great. Yeah, welcome back.
Thank you.
Hey, we have with us 3 people actually that I've met in Medellin. That's why I'm wearing this shirt today. Yo soy verdolaga. It's a motto of the football team from Medellin. I am verdolaga is a weed. You know, so yo soy verdolaga means that you're as proliferate. You're part of a people that are as proliferate as weeds. And weeds, of course, everywhere that can't be defeated, can't be destroyed. So these 3 people, I think we all took a walk together, left the hotel one day and walked down to Botero Square and saw the Boteros, drank some real good Colombian coffee, which they reserve for the tourists because the Colombians don't really drink very good coffee themselves, but it was really good down there in Botero Square. Anyway, this first person is from Peru originally, but who calls herself a Netherlands poet these days. And that is Karina Miñano. So to welcome and introduce you to Karina, let's hear from Deborah Hauser.
Karina Miñano is a poet, writer, and poetry teacher. Her most recent book, I'm going to butcher this. I'm going to let you tell us your most recent book when you come on. She is the host and director of the poetry podcast Por Debajo de la Pluma. Her new collection of poems will be released in 2026. Please welcome Karina.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, George, Deborah, for the invitation. I'm very happy to be here and to share with so much talent and to meet you all. Thank you very much. I will read a couple of poems. One is from my book, Mientras el roble cede a la noche, in Spanish, and other poem that is not in my book. Those poems try to capture my relationship with nature. I will read the first in English and then the second time in Spanish. The first day is called A Day I Begin to Remember. Slowness. I will lose myself among the winterberry trees, slowly toward the core, toes, heel, heel, toes. A pass of blouses and skin, scatter across branches, dry leaves, shallow poles. My sternum stripped, like theirs. Immersion. Taken in among the trunks, silence will give its signal. A settled wind, whistling from the crowns. I will step firmly on the rotting petals, a frozen carpet, greeting the cold. From my feet, roots will drive deep into the earth. Amalgam. I will remain still, arms spread wide, face to the sky, blue filling my eyes. A young bark will grab me 3 times. I will not feel the frost. I will be young wood beneath. I will feel the marrow sending its current through my body. I am a new shape, broad-chested, with ravenous legs. Calm, breath. It will be a bright winter day in February, a day memory has begun to shape. Ahora lo voy a leer en español. Now I will read it in Spanish. Amalgama desnuda. Lentitud. Me perderé entre la desnudez de los árboles de invierno. Despacio hasta el centro. Dedos. Talón. Talón, dedos. Camino de blusas y dermis, esparcidas sobre ramas, hojas secas, charcos de agua. El esternón despojado, como ellos. Inmersión. Ingerida en medio de los troncos, el silencio dará la señal. Viento reposado, silbidos desde las copas. Pisaré firme los pétalos descompuestos, alfombra gélida, saludando al frío. De mis pies brotarán raíces incrustadas en la tierra. Amalgama. Me quedaré inmóvil, los brazos desplegados, la cara en el cielo, el azul en los ojos. Corteza somera me volverá 3 veces. No sentiré alguirez. Seré álbura joven. Percibiré la médula empujando energía por mi cuerpo. Soy forma nueva, de pecho ancho y piernas voraces. Calma. Respiro. Será un día soleado de invierno. En febrero, un día que ya empiezo a recordar. Y el segundo, the second one comes from my book, Mientras el roble cede a la noche. I will read it again in English, the second time in Spanish. While the oak yells tonight. Amid restless whistlings, the oak murmurs melodies to the young poplar. Branches once lifted to the sky now lean toward the earth. A golden dust at day's end passes on its ups with love and fear. The poplar accepts the charge of legacy. It lives trembling, listening. The last embrace breaks their branches in the vaporous breeze. The poplar sings for the first time its golden song, while the oak yells tonight. And in Spanish, mientras el roble cede la noche. Entre silbidos alborotados, el roble musita melodías al álamo bisoño. Sus ramas alguna vez hacia el cielo, hoy se inclinan hacia la tierra. Áureo crepúsculo al final de la tarde, transfiere su savia con amor y miedo. El álamo acepta ser guardián delegado, sus hojas tiemblan, escucha con atención. El último abrazo entrelaza las ramas en la brisa vaporosa. El álamo canta por primera vez su canción dorada, mientras el roble cede a la noche. Thank you very much.
Okay. It's beautiful in Spanish too. Thank you so much. Do you also write in Dutch?
Not yet.
Yeah, not yet.
Not yet.
I think everybody in Holland speaks 5 languages fluently.
Yes, at least. I think that the average is 3 languages indeed, yeah.
Amazing. Something we can learn as Americans. Shaip, welcome. I'm glad that you made it. Shaip, can you hear me? Shaip is
Yes.
coming to us from Tetovo,
Hello.
North
Hi.
Macedonia, Albanian poet, the director of Ditet I Naimet, Days of Naim, poetry festival in Tetovo, long-standing poetry festival that I first attended back maybe 2017 or thereabouts at the recommendation of Craig Zuri. And a fine poet in his own right, a terrific family, very supportive family of was always there for the poets every year when they come to visit in Tetovo. It's also a gambling town. I don't know too many details about the gambling there, but it's a lively town, Tetovo. So here to share some of his poetry with us is Shaip. To introduce Shaip, Deborah, what have you got on him?
Shaip holds a PhD in literature, is a lecturer at the State University of Tetovo, and published nearly a dozen volumes of poetry. In 2000, he co-authored the book We Witness, a collection of testimonies on the massacres in Kosovo, and he has received several national and international literary awards. He is the founder and director of an international poetry festival.
I read 3 poems in English and in my language, Albanian language. The Apples of Tetova. Through the concerted centuries, Tetova pruned and watered its own apple tree. Like rock salt, you'll want to burst when you spot them turned rotten from maggots. In the end, they've eaten so much their teeth went numb. Where are we going? The tail end of night stayed to host crickets. The morning leaf exploded in anger. Where are we going now? Troy of the Horse. The geography of the Troy running horse expands with beaten knives. You break out and your little mind doesn't understand how we bite the fish bait when the shadows surround our bodies with the Troy of the horse through and through. The foam of its mouth fills our tables. Nobody ruins their day, their fun. What remains from Troy, despite of the horse with the Winnie's fraud? And poem in Albanian. Zbrite Madridin mes nesh, e shkundur gjithsesi se je kthyer. Ska si të jetë ndryshe, pa fyer ndjenja që u bimien atë diell sysh, e qejfi I shpirtit të çante tupanin e lirisë pa anë, ëndra jote ishte tango, tango që I jepeshe dëshirës së lirë, nuk kishe gardian robi të të bezdiste me sy vrojtuesi të të vriste hapësirën e mundësisë që ishte krejt jotja sa një Madrid ku luhet loja e djersën e ndryr hedh liria është si dielli ku të prek qielli dhe përshëndet Perëndin e falenderon Madridin I kërkon të kthehesh prap në shtëpi e prap në Madrid ku lufta me dema ndodh këtu në Shkup e fustanin e kuq skesi e vesh, se vërsulen dema edhe desh, e ce mere vesh ku mendon ta lë shpirtin e ku mishin, unë pres ta pi kafen në galaksi e ta dëgjoj paqen që ka marrë formën tënde. Madridin zbrite mes nesh këtu te Skënderbeu në Bit Pazar. Zoti është një, jeta është një. Thank you.
Ah, so beautiful in Albanian. Yeah, very rich language. Thank you for that.
Thank you, George.
Maybe if you have an English translation of that, Shaip, if you have that, maybe you can put it in the chat. Otherwise, thank you. It communicated very well just in
yes.
listening.
Yes.
Great. Thanks again. Okay, we have a couple of people that have come in and we've been we're kind of backing up and taking them in the order that the presentation was. So our next person who's going to present for us, probably a fifth person, so there's quite a number here from that I met in Medellin. But those of you here in New York, especially associated with Walt Whitman Birthplace, will remember him as one of 2 or 3 people here today who have appeared at the Birthplace to read for us. And he also did some music and guitar music downtown Huntington for us. So we're showing affinity and interest in not just Pablo Neruda, but also Pablo de Roca, another Chilean poet, Roberto Aedo. Tell us about Roberto, Deborah.
Roberto is a Chilean poet, essayist, and scholar. His poems have been translated into English and Chinese. He has participated in literary meetings, such as the Second International Writing Program of the Luzon Academy of Literature, the 34th Medellin International Poetry Festival, and the Walking with Whitman program. Roberto.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the kind invitation, George and Deborah, for the presentation. It's good to see you all. Please forgive me for the delay. And it's good to see Alexander again, Hassanal again, Dimitris, and so thank you. And Sara Florian too, and Robert Savino. I'm going to share with you a poem called Peace, that it's from unpublished book called Path, and this is the English version and then the Spanish version for you. Peace. Whoever says peace says beauty, just as much in the tender, melancholy hearts of lovers as in the dark and ever-changing mirror of the sky. There where all rivers converge to cease being rivers, both in its sinking and its translator. Whoever says peace says beauty, just as much in the blooded mouth of the tiger as in the lost eyes of the one who lies in the middle of the street, gunned down after a vendetta, caught in the midst of a dispute for territorial control. Whoever says peace says beauty, not loveliness, not goodness, not even stillness or hope, but merely a moment of truth. Whoever says truth says peace, but words always fail those who try it, those who seek to possess it, the substance within the forms, because the world is veil and quintessence through the tides of change. Peace for the sorrowful singing of mothers, peace for the courage and the cords of all those who knew how to burn, peace for the children, those orphans in Gaza who amid the ruins recite the Asura and learn it by heart, planting it in their fertile land, watering it with the little water of blood of their hearts. For the day when the illusion fades, for the wars to come and not to come, for the before and for the during, but also for the after. For when the illusion fades and there is no longer a when and where, and mercy comes to fulfill all its scriptures. So in Spanish is paz. Quien dice paz dice belleza. Lo mismo en el tierno atrabiliario corazón de los amantes que en el espejo oscuro y cambiante del cielo, allí donde todos los ríos confluyen para dejar de ser los ríos, lo mismo en su hundimiento que en su traductor. Quien dice paz dice belleza, así en la boca sanguinolenta del tigre como en los ojos perdidos del que yace en plena calle, acribillado tras la vendetta en medio de una disputa por el control territorial. Quien dice paz dice belleza, no dice quietud o esperanza, sino tan solo un momento de verdad. Quien dice verdad dice belleza, pero las palabras siempre fallan al que la intenta, a quien busca poseerla, la substancia entre las formas, pues el mundo es velo y quintesencia a través del cambio. Paz para el desconsuelo cantante de las madres, paz para el coraje y los acordes de todos los que supieron arder.
Paz para los niños, esos huérfanos de Gaza que en medio de las ruinas recitan una sura y la aprenden de memoria, plantándola en su tierra fértil, regándola con agüita de sangre de su corazón, para cuando llegue el día en que la ilusión se desvanezca, para las guerras que vendrán y no vendrán, para el antes y el durante, mas también para el después, para cuando la ilusión se desvanezca y ya no haya cuándo ni dónde y venga la misericordia a cumplir todas sus escrituras. Thank you so much.
Roberto Aedo. Thank you so much, Roberto. Getting good flavor for several different languages today. Let's hear from Dimitris P. Kraniotis from Larissa, Greece, which is on the coast about midway between Athens and Thessaloniki, very historic region of Greece, and a beautiful harbor, some nice dark evergreen covered islands you can get to from Larissa. And this is a man whose name you will see engaged in world poetry activities nearly every day. He's involved in some activity one or another. Really remarkable. I last saw him in Nausa, but I think he's going to be in Medellin this year and a lot of other locations. Tell us about Dimitris, please, Deborah.
Dimitris lives in Larissa, Greece, and works as a medical doctor and internist. He is the author of 12 poetry books, and his poems have been translated into 40 languages. He is a doctor of literature, academician, president of the 22nd World Congress of Poets, president of the World Poet Society, and chairman of the Writers for Peace Committee of PEN, Greece. Dimitris.
Thank you for the invitation to this great event for the World Poetry Day. I'm happy because I will read my poems in this event in Greek and in English. The first poem first in English and after in Greek. On to the peace hero. You were born once for 1,000 revolutions. You died once with 1,000 resurrections. You enlightened eternal ideals into chests full of dreams. You blew poets' words into harmonious winds. You got hurt by faceless winds and slapped injustices. You fought for freedom and won for peace. In Greek. Οδείς τον ήρωα της ειρήνης. Γεννήθηκες μία φορά για 1000 επαναστάσεις. Πέθανες μία φορά με 1000 αναστάσεις. Φώτισες αιώνια ιδανικά σε σεντούκια ονείρων. Φύσηξες λέξεις ποιητών σε ανέμους αρμονίας. Πόνεσες από απρόσωπες πληγές. Χαστούκισες αδικίες. Για την ελευθερία πάλεψες. Νίκησες για την ειρήνη. The second poem in English has the title In a Flash. You violated the borders which buried their know thyself. You destroyed prisons behind curtains turned ablaze by the spark of your anchor. Without cries, without whispers, in a flash, that symbol it was. You gave birth to light. When you embraced that isn't told, although written in darkness. The next poem in English has the title Moving. We are naked now. We don't the colors, addressed words and voices. We are blunt now. We drank the like, swam in death. With alcohol and tobacco in our luggage, we testify falsely, forgetting who we are. We built our life on a bird and we flew again. Simply, we moved. And the last poem in Greek and in English first, Illusions. Noiseless wrinkles on our forehead, the frontiers of history, sent oblique glances at Homer's verses. Illusions full of guilt redeem wounded whispers that became echoes in lighted caves of the fools and the innocent. Ψευδαισθήσεις. Βουβές ρητίδες στο μέτωπό μας τα σύνορα της ιστορίας. Ρίχνουν κλεμμένες ματιές σε στίχους του Ομήρου. Ψευδαισθήσεις γεμάτες ενοχές. Λυτρώνουν τραυματισμένους ψίθυρους που έγιναν αντίλαγοι σε φωτισμένες σπηλιές ανόητων και αθώων. Ευχαριστώ πολύ. Thank you very much.
Ευχαριστώ πολύ. Thank you, Dimitris. See you,
Thank you. Thank you.
one place or another, somewhere around the world very soon, I hope. Another person you'll see in New York, but really very strong roots in Armenia, representing Armenian poetry and Armenian American poetry. There's a lot of work in Europe. You'll see her a lot of places, but downtown New York City, quite a bit. A good friend to New York City poetry and the Armenian writers community worldwide. Please tell us about Lola Koundakjian.
Lola's The Little Boy was selected for Poem a Day for April 2026 by the Academy of American Poets. Her third collection, The Moon in the Cusp of My Hand, won the Minas and Kohar Tolyan Prize in Contemporary Literature. Please welcome Lola Koundakjian.
Thank you very much, George. It's great to see you, Deborah, the same, and Robert, and I hope to meet everybody else in the near future. Since it's World Poetry Day, I would like to read about travel, since it's a way to also honor this beautiful planet. I've been to 42 countries and hopefully more to come. Hiroshima. I went to Hiroshima in 2005, 60 years after the artificial sun. I arrived amid snow showers to witness a destroyed city reborn. When I informed my mother of my plans, she asked if I was depressed. I told her I needed to go to beg for forgiveness, not that I pushed the button. In an exhibit in New York City, I had seen the melted glass bottles, the fused coins, and the frozen clocks. There I saw much more. Hollowed statues of Buddha, images of people with burns, their skin branded if they wore patterned clothing, wristwatches morphing into microwave ovens, killing people with radiation sickness. Hiroshima's boulevards today bear witness to the shadows of humans who left by evaporation, and statues erected by benevolent associations to honor volunteer doctors and nurses. I walked through the roads leading to Ground Zero and the Peace Dome, the only building still standing after the atom bomb, visited the memorial cenotaph, the eternal flame, the peace bell, and the museum filled with teenagers from nearby towns. This was not an easy visit, nor should it be. I walked to my hotel in silence. A Sunday at Charles de Gaulle Airport. A little bit about me. I was born in Lebanon, but moved to New York City when I was 17. And this was after my only trip back to Lebanon. You know why. Disembarked, then ushered to a cramped security area, one bathroom for all the passengers, I left to make a phone call. The terminal was quiet, no open shops on Sunday. I hoped to exchange a few dollars for French francs. A kind man obliged, unsure of the rates. I told him that was okay. I found a phone, inserted some coins, dialed a number and said, "Please call Mom. Tell her we are safe." Alive is what we were foremost. In New York, I went back to college the day after landing, and the PTSD hit me. I failed my classes that semester. No matter, I'm here to tell the story. A trip to Egypt. Two friends announced they were planning to discover Cairo and the desert. I said I'd go, remembering my school class trip there, my 12-year-old self touring Giza and the pyramids, stopping for tea at the Mena House, taking a boat ride to King Tut's tomb, an overnight train ride to Karnak Luxor and the Valley of the Kings. The following week, I sold my camera, a beautiful single-lens reflex Nikon with a gorgeous macro lens. I was young, fearless, and ready for heat stroke. The men were giddy with excitement. We talked about shots and malaria pills, eating great food on a student budget. In my mind, I visited the souk with endless stalls of ladies' gallabiyas, ate dried dates coated with chocolate, and bought books by the new Nobel laureate, Naguib Mahfouz. But I never made it to the tarmac at JFK. The camera paid that month's rent. The hairdresser in Yemen. Crossing the desert, we are driving to Sana'a, hair blessed with sand. I wished for a stop before reaching the airport for a hair wash. 20 minutes later, we arrived to a small building, 2 steps, a curtain. I enter, frightening the woman on the other side. She apologized, for I seemed like a man, an intruder with my uncovered face, my short hair, my height and pants, in a women-only shop, a refuge from the heat of the street and the chaos of home. I explained my needs, just a shampoo to rid the dust off my hair, a feeling of freshness before the overnight flight to Amsterdam via Jeddah. She invited me to the basin and opened a bottle of Sunsilk. The perfume took me back to my childhood and, after a 2-week trip alone in the Middle East, it was like being enveloped with familiar love, a marvelous cocoon of care as she swaddled my hair with the towel, and seeing her daughter return from school, uniform and backpack, summoned her to make coffee for the auntie. As she dried my hair, I drank the sweet and pungent black brew served in a demi-tasse, while the hairdresser's life unfolded like the 1001 Nights. Leaving Baghdad during the war, where she and her husband were school teachers, they came to this ancient land where they built a temporary home, hoping for visas to Sweden. And after some 20 years, I wonder where they are, where they made their new home. And to close, another poem about Yemen, which is dedicated to my dad, the one who taught me how to love travel. Dad, you never told us the who or the why, except repeating odes to them. The people of Yemen, you would say. The fauna, the flora, you'd add. It took my brother and I 3 decades or so to follow your footsteps. Your reverie was justified. You came back a man in love with nature, architecture, food, and many more things you photographed. I only wish you were a writer who kept a journal. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lola. Appreciate your real insights into all sorts of different aspects of the world culture and interaction with it. I'm pleased to say we have everybody from the list is here now. Some people have difficulty with the time differences, but we do have with us, and Hassanal has been asking about Rudy, whether he's going to be able to come. from Guatemala, but Rudy is with us now. He runs a very fine poetry festival, FIPA, in Guatemala, in Aguacatan, which is up in the Mayan country, where you can you have experience of poetry, not just in Spanish, but in a couple different Mayan languages. So it's a very, very rich experience that you get to share. Hassanal and I had the opportunity to participate in that last year. So very glad to see him here today. Please welcome. Oh, please hear from Deborah so she can tell you about Rudy Alfonso Gomez Rivas.
Welcome, Rudy. Rudy is an educator, writer, editor, cultural manager. He has published 11 poetry books and participated in congresses, meetings, book fairs, and festivals at the national and international level. He is the director of 2 literary magazines and founder and organizer of an international poetry festival, FIPA. Welcome, Rudy.
Muchas gracias. Thank you so much. Many thanks to Georg Wallace for the invitation to this poetry readings. Gracias a Georg Wallace por la invitación. Voy a leer los 3 poemas que tengo preparados para esta mañana. One poem, a la orilla del mar. He llegado de tierras lejanas, trayendo sobre los hombros nebulosas que transgreden el desgano y la desmemoria de espinas pus. Camino al son del horizonte, acallando fábulas que proveen desnudos amaneceres. En mí los espejos de escarcha hacen trizas el andar que se ha quedado colgado en ventanas amarillas. El incienso es un aroma lejano donde anida la voz infantil de hijos y pájaros rotos. A la orilla del mar, un sueño, una sonrisa, unas manos laboriosas, unos labios que invitan a la locura, una canción de Serrat, una niña abriendo sus alas ante el miedo, unos ojos inventando otro país. Second poem, máscaras. Construimos máscaras, pretendemos llegar al centro de la raíz de sus misterios. Construimos máscaras, seducimos a la muerte y a sus corsarios. Construimos máscaras, el eco de los cetáceos se suicida en los labios. Construimos máscaras, la insurrección del jade nos pinta crucifijos en las sienes. Construimos máscaras, hirsutas piedra nos pintan dudas en las manos. Construimos máscaras, hechizos blancos aniquilan los sueños y enmarañan el mañana. Raíz, muerte, cetáceos, jade, piedras, hechizos, es lo que finalmente somos. Poema 3. La puerta, zarzamora de los sueños. Hijo, las puertas crean diálogos entre la vida y la muerte. El cerrojo de la puerta es el ojo que nos vigila la risa. Las bisagras ángeles con su canto de aluminio sentencian las derrotas cotidianas. Las llaves nos salvan del látigo de las calles. Una anciana recorre las aceras, de sus manos escapan mariposas que huelen a mar. Un niño atrapa el viento, con sus harapos construye guitarras. Las puertas son abismos horizontales donde el tiempo languidece y se anestesia la zarzamora de los sueños. Thanks.
Rudy, thank you so much. It's this book behind you, the book behind you. A lot of heart in your poetry. Thanks again, Rudy. We'll see you again soon. We have 3 more readers. The first is Hassanal Abdullah, who many of you know from the New York area, having published Shabdagucha magazine for many years, an international magazine. Bengali American. But in recent years, I've seen him really on the festival circuit, world festival circuit, any number of locations. He's got legs. He's getting around. So please welcome Hassanal Abdullah and an introduction by Deborah Hauser.
Thank you.
Hassanal is the author of more than 60 books in various genres, including 21 collections of poetry. He is the editor of Sabdagucha, an international bilingual poetry magazine. His collected poems in Bengali was published by Anyanya in 2 volumes. Mr. Abdullah received the Homer European Medal of Poetry and Art in 2016 and Clement Janeski International Poetry Award in 2021. Please welcome Hassanal Abdullah.
Thank you, Deborah. Thank you, George. Nice to see all my friends, Rudy, Roberto, Alexandra, obviously, and all of you are, Dimitris, my friend, as Stanley Kunitz mentioned, that all poets are from the same mother. So this is a great day to celebrate the World Poetry Day. And George, thank you so much for inviting me. And I want to thank the Walt Whitman Birthplace Museum for hosting this great reading. I'm going to read 2 poems. The first one in English, the second one I'll read in English and Bengali, as I write mostly in Bengali and then translate into English. When God is dead. When God is dead, I will swim in the river, I will play football and get a lot of fans for cheer for it. When God is dead, I will climb the big tree up in Forest Park near my house and kill all the squirrels to save my garden full of vegetables. When God is dead, I will eat a tuna fish sandwich and 5 fried cockroaches as a side order and ask you guys to rethink about Moses, Jesus, Muhammad, and Krishna, for whom you have been killing each other for centuries. When God is dead, I will stop writing poems. And believe me, my lady, I will be in a bed with you for 3 consecutive days and nights, and will never be separated. Thank you. The next and the last poem is With a Little Cash. And thank you, Rudy, for translating this into Spanish, this poem, With a Little Cash, for Aguacatan International Poetry Festival. I actually wrote an article of 24 pages about that visit, and it just was published in a book that came out in January from Calcutta. So that was a great experience with my friend George. We had a great time. And I also went to Mexico last month, and I talked about that we are bordering Mexico and your country. Okay, With a Little Cash, I'll read in Bengali first. কিছু পয়সা হলে আমি দেব শিল্পের দোকান, আধুনিক আজান আমার প্রতিধ্বনি তুলে ছুটে যাবে অসমাপ্ত গন্তব্যের কোনায় কোনায়। কটা দিন যাক, কিছু পয়সা হলে তোমার নরম পাদুখানা ভিজাবো সতেজ জলে। কিছু পয়সা হলে কিনবো আমি বিরাট আকাশ, সারাদিন ঘোরাফেরা তার পাটাতনে, পাখিরা জাগিয়ে দেবে, পাখিরা পাড়াবে ঘুম সহজ স্বভাবে। পৃথিবী দুহাতে পাবে কোমল দুহাত, ক্লান্তির বঙ্কিম রেখা শুধু মুছে গেলে। কিছু পয়সা হলে মৌমাছির গান শুনে আমি সময় কাটাবো। দূরের আলাপ, তারে তারে কথা বলা আর নয় অযথা স্নায়ুর অপচয়। কিছু পয়সা হলে বাংলাদেশ জেনে রেখো, আমি তোমার বুকেই মাথা রেখে সারা রাত নীরবে ঘুমাবো। Now in English, With a Little Cash. translated by Nazrul Islam Naz, who used to live in London and died in an accident in 2015. Sad news. With a little cash. If I have a little cash, I will open an art shop. My modernist call will raise echo and journey to corners of places not reached before. Let a few days pass by. If I have a little cash, I will wash your soft feet with spring water. If I have some money, I will buy the giant sky. Wandering all day on its floor, birds will wake me up and they will again put me easily asleep. The world will find my hands in its own if the crooked line of restlessness is wiped away. With some money, I'll spend my time listening to the bees. Faraway conversations, no longer talking from where to where, no more wasting of snew. Bangladesh, take note of it. I will rest my head upon your breast and sleep all night in tranquility when I have just a little cash. Thank you so much. I invite you to submit to my magazine, Shabdagucho. It's working on the 28th anniversary issue. Thank you.
Hassanal Abdullah. His email address, if you're interested in finding out more about Shabdagucho, is in the chat room now.
Yeah, I put it on the chat.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
Good.
Thank
Thanks
you.
again.
Thank you, George.
We are going to hear from two more invited poets today. And thank you all for your discipline with the timing. We're bringing this show in about an hour and a half, an hour and 45 minutes, so that it's digestible to anybody who wants to see it on YouTube in a week or so. First person of the last two that I want to introduce is, I can tell you, Sara Florian, Italian poet, who I met in Medellin, and she was one of the 2 or 3 people in that hotel who refused to let me sit around and drink and eat and not get out of the hotel because they warned us not to leave the hotel. She was out there, as was Alexander Selimov, who you hear as the final reader, chasing down experiences beyond the hotel walls. And I was thankful for them dragging me out and being part of that. Deborah, tell us about Sara.
Sara is a Caribbeanist scholar who has been writing since primary school. Her first encounter with poetry, and has published articles, essays, and poetic works internationally, including India, Colombia, China, the Caribbean, the US, and Russia. She was a finalist for 3 consecutive years at the Singapore Poetry Festival and represented Italy and Singapore at the Festival Internationale de Poesia in 2022 and represented Italy in 2024. Please welcome Sara.
Hi, thank you so much, George, for inviting me to this International Poetry reading and to spend the International Poetry Day sharing our poems and to meet you all. It's also good to see again Roberto and Alexander, whom I met in Colombia. Today I'm going to read 2 poems. The first poem I'm going to read is an elegy which dwells in an imaginary past where the space between life and death is suspended and violence muffles pain. And this poem deals with the brutality of war and its soul-ripping effects, symbolizing lost possibilities and the lament for the body's deepest wounds. The title is Elegy for an Unborn. The bell is gulping in its tolls the day. A silent tone foretells an alien sound. The portal left ajar, her hand is grey. The mill is grinding slow, the pinion pounds. A bomb's explosions echo swift astounds. She runs and runs to find a shelter. There she hides among the bags. The wheat abounds. her clammy hands now gripping in prayer. And sudden comes a foreign uniform. She does not breathe. The only sound, a fish outside, the river knows its water warm like blood. His eyes are hunters, devilish. My life, your life, who cares, who knows? He seethes with lust. Air smells of seeds, of tar, of gold. Concussed, she ebbs and wanting cannot breathe, wheeze and numbness, dazed in womb, blindfolded. A forlorn pulse of will on peat, ground, grist, as one ore stone is stained with felony. He left, while she, with prayers still in fists, already thought of getting rid of thee. She'll never hear that wail, her guts life's not. In ebbing dusk, a daydream, ghostly, whines. She drops from hand to floor, forget-me-nots, and on her belly, a crevice, crying. And the final line of this elegy, where a crevice suggests a wound, both a wound and an opening, leads me to read the next poem, Crevices, which is also the title of my collection, which I wrote when I lived in Singapore, where I spent about 15 years. So what are crevices for me? In nature, crevices are fractures in between clouds, waves, or splits in dry soil. But it can also be wounds in one's soul or one's body, a threshold where life, memory, pain, possibilities, and of course, poetry can emerge. I'll read a part of it in English and a part in Italian. Crevices. Crevices are fractures, are waves, are shipwrecks, are gaps, are spaces between soil, are holes to be filled, cuts to be healed, are undetermined bridges to be bridged, are undefined crevices to be climbed back up, an unsound abyss of disentangled trees, of disengaged trains, of disguised roads, of disenchanted seas, of disemboweled buildings, of leaves, of soil, of fire, of wings, of air, of water. They are details or imperfections. They are my eyes unable to see, my mouth unable to speak, my ears unable to hear, my heart unable to tell, words unspoken for fear, are skillful hands reading braille symbols, wise eyes seeing through sound. Yet, I need no rescue from the crevices, for they are my threshold, the vestibule that leads to the atrium of poetry, a chamber where I can cocoon and write, that I can reach out through the fissures of memories, of soul. Le crepe sono il mio ritmo, attraverso la terra, attraverso l'acqua, attraverso la luce. Eppure non ho bisogno di essere salvata dalle crepe, perché sono la mia soglia, il vestibolo che conduce all'atrio della poesia. Uno spazio dove posso avvilupparmi e scrivere, ma posso raggiungere le incrinature dei ricordi, dell'anima. A volte, bloccata negli angoli e negli squarci delle società giudicanti, cammino libera sulle pagine della mia poesia, nel mio territorio inesplorato, in viaggi che molti normalmente non intraprendono. Ma cos'è la normalità? Percorrere gli stessi sentieri o incasellarsi in una definizione? Che dire degli emarginati, dei naufraghi, degli ibridi? E qual è quella fessura che possiamo chiamare casa? È un luogo di appartenenza o di non appartenenza? Apparteniamo a un clan, ci sentiamo amati o compresi? La casa È uno spazio fisico o immaginario? Le crepe sono per me un luogo di appartenenza quando sento di non appartenere. Un interstizio sicuro dove posso viaggiare e guardare il mondo che passa, mentre faccio guarire le spaccature della mia anima create dal dolore. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you so much. Good to hear it in Italian and very strong reading in English as well. So thank you for the both. We now turn to, that was the penultimate reader for this afternoon, but our final reader from the group, this person really, he's like a shapeshifter in a way, because when he was in Medellin, they billed him as being a Russian poet. Down in Delaware, he's a Spanish scholar at the University of Delaware. But, I think has 100% proficiency and fluency in English as well. And I admire him simply because he's a road warrior. Sometimes he'll just hop in the car in Delaware and drive up here to New York for one or another of the events that we do here on Long Island or in New York City. Consider him a personal friend. And also a fine contributor to poetry / music phenomenon. So please, let's hear from Deborah Hauser about Alexander Selimov.
Dr. Alexander Selimov holds the Elias Ahuja Endowed Chair at the University of Delaware. He earned his PhD from the University of Pennsylvania. A celebrated poet and singer-songwriter, he has authored 7 poetry collections and is a UNESCO-recognized Universal Ambassador of Culture. Please welcome our final reader, Dr. Alexander Selimov.
Thank you very much for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be and celebrate with all of you, brothers and sisters in poetry, siempre en poesía. The first poem that I will read in English because I have several collections in Spanish and also in English. So I will write in the language that I wrote these poems. They have to do with identity. And that's why I quickly will explain. The first one is called Yigo. Yigo is an Apache Navajo word for strength. And the reason I use that is because according to the theory by Russian linguist Sergei Starostin, Ibero-Caucasian languages, which is Georgian, Lezgi, my ethnicity, Lezgi, and Basques are related through Yenisei to Navajo and Apache languages. Surprise discovery. This poem is about the day I discovered it because Sergei Starostin attended my concert with a renowned Russian rock musician, Alexander Lerman, in 1994. Yigo. Stage lights hot. The Bacchus Theater packed with linguists, pretending to be human for one night. Lerman's guitar snarled, Moscow rock. My bass laid down a stubborn mountain pulse. Between songs, you leaned from the wings, cigarette glowing like a red rig on the Caspian, and said in plain, all in Lezgi, all on the Navajo Mesa. Tongues that walked different roads across the ice. I stood there holding my bass like a man who just heard his own name in a language he didn't know he spoke. Fire. My grandmother's word for it. Edine, grandmother's word for it. Same root, carried separately across 12,000 years. Both tongues nearly raised. Theirs on the long walk. Ours when the Tsar's army burned the villages. Both still spoken. I don't claim the high cheekbones or the desert wind, just the spark that answers when it's cold. Yigo. I didn't know it then. I know it now. One word, 2 continents, still burning. Thank you. The next one is also about identity, and there's only one word that I need to translate. It's chorny. Chorny is blacks. That's how Russians call North Caucasians. People from the Northern Caucasus, Georgia, Armenia, that area. Lines on the map. Chorny, Moscow's label for boys from the mountains, whose cheekbones looked cut by frost. Strangers crossed the street. Cops stopped us for existing. Cross an ocean, cross a century, find new paperwork for the same face. In Miami, they call me hermano. In Yerevan, Ahper Jan. Ader Femu in Athens. Same scheme, different latitude, different box to check. In the mountains, where my Lezgi grandparents danced, they measured the man by his handshake, the weight of his word, whether he'd lie to your face. I've been sorted, classified, stopped, weighed through, questioned in languages I barely speak, welcomed in places I'd never heard of, refused entry to my own history. A man is not the color of his shadow or the shade of others' fears. He is what he does when no one is filling out the form. I carry no flag, just the rivers of history, carving new cartography through my bones, and a tongue that shifts countries depending on who's listening. Call me what you want. I stopped answering to their categories somewhere over the Atlantic. Thank you. And one more short poem referring to an actual incident when I was a little boy, 1973, in the mountains of Caucasus. At 9, the lights went out. We fed the fire with dry corn cobs. The smoke carried the sweet rot smell of overripe alicha berry. A warm wind came down from the Shahdag side, smelling of sheep pens and the whetstones of the Samur. 2 shotguns blast cracked the dark sky like a toast. Someone's son had come home from the army alive. The children fell silent when the she-wolf's silhouette crossed the firelight. Not silver, not the snarling beast of fairy tales, a gauntly, dusty creature with ribs like dried-up riverbeds, eyes the color of the tea my grandmother cooled on the windowsill. The wolf stood just beyond the firelight, watching the fat tail turning on the spit. I could hear her breathing, slow, patient. No one cried out. No one spoke a word. Not in Lezgi, not in Russian. Only the occasional soft splat of overripe mulberries hitting the ground, and the click of claws on baked claw. Then the she-wolf turned, tail low, and slipped back into the wormwood and red currant, as though the night had opened a door just wide enough to let her through. The coals crumbled to great dust. No one moved to take the meat from the fire. Everyone stayed silent, as if she-wolf had carried the word for home away with her. Thank you very much.
Alexander Selimov, thank you so much. Caucasus, interesting part of the world. Circassian, I think, part of the world. So we'll hear much more from you and from all the others that we've seen today in our various venues that we all participate in here in New York and different countries around the world. It's been a beautiful 2 hours of respite from doom scrolling. We're seeing a different perspective in the world, not the perspective of politicians or business people or people of a religious persuasion, but the artists of the world. So for World Poetry Day, I leave you with the comment of a poet who's been very lost. Someone's slick. Well, I can't find it, but Selim from the United Arab Emirates who's worked a lot with Kausri and the World Poetry Movement, says, and I'm going to paraphrase here, that when we listen to poetry texts and really absorb them and penetrate them, we see a perspective on the world and the voice of the world in a way that we do not and cannot in any other way from the ways that that the world is presented to us. So this is our moment of respite, 2 hours of beauty, which we will bring back to our own communities and share around the world in our various ways. The fact that we had an audience here today who came to listen simply because they wanted to hear what was going on is testament to the underlying impact and importance of poetry in people's lives today, whether they're participating as the main people presenting on a particular day or just hearing other people. So I'm very thankful for everybody who came today. We had 100% turnout of participants. We had a very nice turnout of audience members. The support of the World Women Birthplace is essential in making this happen. So thanks again to the Walt Women Birthplace and Robert Savino for making that happen. And Deborah Hauser, good work today as a co-host. We're going to do this again on September 19th. Until then, we'll see you one place or another in the world of poetry as it impacts in the world. Thank you all again from Huntington, Long Island, and the Walt Women Birthplace. Sayonara.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
It's great to